We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be lethal to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She was magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is now.
Giving you that checkup from the neck up, helping you to build your financial house. And of course, we're here at Resurgence 2022, and it's still time because it's up till 5 o'clock. You still have time to register and come. But again, I told you there's a lot of movers and shakers here today, and we have one that is I passed the mover shaker. I don't know what you call the next level. I have Dr. George Fraser. And I mean, this is truly on. I have followed you years and years, you know, and you spoke last night about Dr. Clark. Last night you just blew us out of the water. You said you were going to drop some gems. You didn't drop gems. You dropped bombs. and there's so many things that you had to share. But what does this Resurgence 2022 mean to you?
Oh, I love the word. It's a powerful word, and it means to not only lift up, but to move forward with aggression, with empathy, sympathy, with leadership, and for the best of us to bubble up to the top and research. Because as you heard me say last night, no one's saving black people but black people. It's been 400 years and we ain't saved. So what are we waiting for? We're waiting for ourselves. Right? And President Obama said that in his 2016 campaign, right? We are the ones we are waiting for. And the beauty is that we have it like that. We can do it. We just need unity. We need a sense of community.
Yes.
We need intellectual curiosity that becomes the foundation of critical thinking. And so we need more critical thinkers who are displaying the kind of leadership that move a community and move a people forward. If a community is not moving forward, it is moving backwards. And if it's moving backwards, the old saying is, if the fish stink, look to the head. It's leadership. Yes. Leadership. Where are the Dr. Kings today?
Yes, where are the Stokely Carmichael Malcolm you mentioned last night? You know, I thought about it. It hit my heart. Yes, where's the Malcolm X's? But also, they're there, but it's a different world today. You know, I had the honor last year to go to Tulsa for the 100th anniversary, and I got an award for being the Wall Street pioneer, because I'm the first African American woman to trade on Wall Street as a full service broker. Fantastic. But It's got to go further than that. When I saw those 600 businesses that were destroyed there, and the fact that our money doesn't move out, it didn't move out of the community for 3 to 5 years, whereas today it's lucky if it lasts 4 minutes.
Oh yeah, and think about it. We're a 1.7 trillion dollar annual economy. If black people in America were a nation, we would be the 16th richest nation
Yes.
in the entire world. Our
Outdoing
money goes in
Spain.
one direction, away from us, and with some of Americans, right? We are the consumption class,
Yes.
black people in America, and white folks are the merchant class. They make stuff, we buy stuff. As I like to say, the goal is to win, not to look like you're winning. I would rather carry a plastic bag with $5,000 in it than to carry a $5,000 Louis Vuitton bag
That's
with
it.
$100 in it. You ain't winning.
Not
You
at
just
all.
look like you're winning. Who's winning? Louis Vuitton, Nike, Dior, Gucci, Ferragamo.
Yeah, and we're not getting anywhere. We have nothing. As a matter of fact, I believe in if I'm going to have a name on something, it better be mine.
That's right.
But I have a question for you, which came up last night. That's why I wanted to talk to you. We're in a society right now where they're teaching us to be kumbaya. Everything is wonderful. You know, we don't need to bring forth what happened in the past. We don't need, this is what I'm hearing from my young folks, my children's, you know, it's that,
I hear it too.
yeah, you know, and it's like, we, in my opinion, we have not gotten to the stage of where we can be so kumbaya. We haven't gotten there yet. You know, everybody else has risen and we're still hanging in the background. What do we do when someone says, especially when they say they want to write a paragraph to write us out of the slavery, out of his, what do we do? How do we rectify this? Because we're at that stage, our children are saying, well, that was then, you know, my husband looks a different culture, you know, that's how they talk. And, you know, it's not about who you love, it's just the fact that you love, you know.
Right.
And so I'm listening to this and we're in a stage, I remember, just to add to where I'm feeling, I remember David Frost and it was Diane Carroll. And David Frost loved her. But his mother married that. You will lose everything that you have because this money has to stay in our family. That was powerful.
Oh yeah.
So
She's telling the truth, right? No question about that. Dr. John Henrik Clarke spoke to this idea that a man without the knowledge, or a woman without the knowledge of their history, is like a tree without roots. We don't really know who we are. We only know who we are. And that's why they did what they did. That we are the children, as I said last night, we are the children of the slaves that would not die. That we have the genetic encoding of the great kings and queens of Africa, that we were building pyramids and solving complex engineering problems when other cultures were living in caves, practicing cannibalism.
Mm-hmm.
And in spite of the fact that America kept its foot on our throat for 400 years, we overcame that. We've risen. We've risen like the phoenix. So if everything happens for a reason
Mm-hmm.
and serves us in some special way, and you will never understand that reason looking forward, you will only understand it looking backwards.
Mm-hmm.
The deeper question here is, maybe we were not brought here. Maybe we were sent here. Do you believe that God would put his weakest people here to do his stuff?
No.
How could an America who could morally, spiritually, and biblically justify the kidnapping, raping, and pillaging of another people? Well, actually, another two people, natives already.
Yes,
in
they did
America,
the true.
and Africans brought to America,
Mm-hmm.
have any moral or spiritual grounding? And perhaps had God not sent Africans here,
Mm-hmm.
America might have self-destructed by now,
Hmm.
right? So it's another way to look at it. God works in mysterious ways.
Hmm.
And if you can metaphorically think of us being sent here instead of brought here,
Hmm.
it is a reflection of the true power that we have and has been demonstrated time and time again from God's first people. You see, we were God's first people. The first human remains, humans as we know them, were born in the old Divide Gorge in Ethiopia.
Yes,
Yeah, Ethiopia, those folks are blue black,
that's right.
right? So God made us first. We built the first great civilizations of humankind, much of what Eurocentric people, in terms of their thoughts and ideas and their religion, they stole, in a sense,
Hmm.
modeled, if you want to make it gentle, from the literature and the writing and the medicine and the engineering that we were doing before they came out of
The
caves.
beginning of civilization.
Right? So why wouldn't a
Hmm.
young person want to know that
Hmm.
and to subconsciously feel his or her own power? If we knew that, internalized that, there would be no way that we would tolerate what we have received in this country. We have been stereotyped to death.
Definitely.
The only thing that a black person can do with excellence is sing and dance, play football, baseball, or basketball. Well, that's not true.
It's so not true.
Right? As I said, we were building pyramids and solving complex engineering problems when you were in caves. Come on. Right? So it is very important. And I hear the same thing you hear from young people. Forget about that. Why are you always talking about that? Why do you
Mhm.
always bring that up? Because it is at the root of our problem. Our lack of wokeness and consciousness, our lack of knowledge of self, the lack of understanding the internal power, the spiritual power, the moral power in us first. We should envelop that and we should use that to press forward.
Okay, so we've got to find a way to. Well, my whole feeling was we're going to have lobotomies take place. We got to clean our minds of all these lies that we've been told
Oh, yeah.
and that we've accepted. Because when I made my first trip, by the way, I made my first trip to Egypt. That was my gift after undergrad, and I went with Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, and Dr. Jeffries. So they were my
Wow.
yeah. That was during the time.
Quite a trio.
It was. And we had was where Dr. Ben had created our learning material. So coming out of undergrad, I was enthused with all the things,
Yeah.
even with Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, and
Where
today
are those people today?
they're all
But
gone.
you see, so I know and I fully understand, and you
Mhm.
are a living testimony of what I just said. You were surrounded by and immersed in from geniuses who understood it, who could interpret Sheikh Anta Diop, who could
Hmm.
interpret Chancellor Williams,
Yes.
the destruction of black civilization. And they poured that into you and thus empowered you,
Yes.
right? So, but much of that is gone. We
How
don't
do
get
we
it in
get it
school. We don't get it at home.
No. How do we get it back?
Right.
What do we do? I know you have a conference coming up.
Oh yeah. You certainly get it. Ours is an African-centered conference. Right. It's in its 22nd year. Forbes magazine named the Power Networking Conference top 5 conferences in America not to be missed. Not the top 5 black conferences. Nothing
Mhm.
wrong with that. One of the top 5 of every conference put on in this country. And there we indoctrinate, if you will, gentle word, instill, if
Okay.
you will, the whole notion of who we are. We have presentations by Dr. Qua David Whitaker, an installed chief in the village of Atonqua in Elmina, a PhD and a practicing lawyer who now lives in Ghana with a dual citizen, United States citizenship,
Yes.
and a Ghanaian citizenship.
Yes.
We have Tony Browder, and we take regular trips with Anthony Browder to Egypt. He is the only black man in the history of the world to have his own dig in Cairo.
Right.
So, but all of this is part of reorienting our people. What we're going to start at the Power Networking Conference next year
Mm-hmm.
is a National Rites of Passage program. You see, we do not have a rites of young people
Mm-hmm.
and adult males and females. I went through one myself
I did
40
too.
years ago.
I did too when
Right.
I was in my 20s, definitely.
So
So,
you
that's
act-
40 years also.
There you go. There you go. So you ask, what can we do?
Mm-hmm.
Those are some of the things we can do,
Okay.
right? We're not going to change urban school history books. They don't cover this.
No.
No. At best, they cover modern Black history. Let's call it the last 400 years since slavery. But it's much deeper and longer than that. So where are we going to have to get this? We're going to have to get this from home, right? And the responsibility will fall on the parents. Now, the problem with that is what you articulated earlier. The succeeding generations, X, Y, Z, and Generation Alpha, are not learning it. Now, my two sons
Mm-hmm.
learned it from me,
Of course.
right? They're not going to even get it in church, right? So one of the places we need to install rites of passage programs with the spiritual base is in our churches. There are
Okay.
85,000 Black churches in America, right? About 10% of them are now focused on economic development, wealth creation, and financial literacy. That's a good, big step in the right direction,
Okay.
and they should. The next big thing, next generations, must be a national rites of passage program, because that's where we go now. We do go to church.
We go to
And
church.
so that's not instilled in us by the most powerful institution historically in Black culture in America. We're going to have a continuing problem, and it's
Well,
already succeeding to get worse.
I have this thing then, and again with the churches, we won't worry about it. With the churches, it's something that Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark used to talk about. As long as we have the picture of God looking like, okay, our masters that have been through the past, how do we consciously see God within ourselves? And therefore, if we're dealing in the churches, like I know there's been many a church and the picture of Jesus has changed because logically and historically, he couldn't look with the blonde hair, blue-eyed deal. Okay, it just can't be.
No,
But
it's
since,
crazy.
but
It's part of our insanity.
it's there. It's almost like, I know you may remember, like I do with Good Times, when Florida had the Black Jesus,
That's right.
and it was like, no, I can't accept that. So
That's how psyched out we are.
yeah. So if we're talking about one of the most strongest institutions that we have that can help to build that Christ energy inside our children, but yet when they look at the Christ energy, it doesn't look like them. How do
Well, to help our people to continue to teach, to help our people understand that is on the other side of crazy, and that now the upside of, and it's a very important point you're making, the upside is that most Black churches in America have gotten rid of the blonde hair, blue-eyed
Okay.
Jesus.
Okay.
Does not exist in basically the Black church. There's been a new Bible, the African American version,
I have that? Yes.
by King Fell, which all of the images in that Bible are Black, and you
Yes,
see
they are.
Jesus on the cross is Black,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So the imagery has changed. Also in that Bible are highlights of where Africans are referred to and spoke of and spoke. So we see our place in the Bible.
Okay.
So, yes, Eurocentric people, white folks, have colonized the image of God. And unfortunately, we will not free our minds until we free ourselves of a white God.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's just the cold hard truth.
You're right.
Now, that's easy to say, extraordinarily difficult to do. You got 400 years of that.
Yeah. And
Right? You've
rain.
got 12, 15 generations of that.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a tall order. So I consider that to be what I call an intergenerational issue.
Okay.
It's not going to be solved on our watch.
Okay.
We ain't gonna live to be
We're
that
not going
old,
to see that.
right? No. But what we will do is we will set the table. We will frame it properly. We will leave writings and speeches and talks and books that speak to that, right? And then we will pass the baton because they will run the next leg in this marathon,
Okay.
right?
Got
It's not a
it.
relay race.
It's
right?
a marathon.
It's not a 400 meter,
It's long.
right? No, this is long. So we have to be committed to that. We can't give up on that. And when your young people say, "Oh, won't you leave that alone? Won't you stop?" No. That is at the foundation of what ultimately will set our minds free. And once we set our minds free, we're on the path to real freedom. And this is why I brought up yesterday understanding the difference between African-centered thinking and Eurocentric thinking. African-centered worldview and Eurocentric worldview. You see, we're going to have to deal with these folks. There's no way around it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? No,
Okay.
we're going right. So if you're going to have to deal with them, you need to understand them. You need to understand how they think. You need to understand their worldview. You need to understand their cosmology. You need to understand their ethos. So in dealing with them, you can understand what's important to them. You know what's important to you.
Yes.
And you can flex and bend, right? You're trying to make a deal. Well, if you're sitting down trying to make a deal with an average Eurocentric person, and you start bringing God and the Holy Spirit, well, they ain't feeling that. That's not who they are.
That ain't what they dealing
right?
with.
That's not what they're dealing with. So you're writing your deal. You're framing your deal from a serving perspective, but the way you talk to them about it is right. Money, profit.
Yes.
Right, but a fair profit. Right. You talk to them about honesty. You talk to them about integrity. You talk to them about what earns people's trust. These are all things that we know and feel. And that's what's in it for them, of course, is the profit. That's what they're looking for. Right?
Yeah, they want the profit.
They want the money.
And one
Not
of
that we don't want the money.
No,
Right.
you know.
But we want the money our way. We don't want the money their way.
Right.
As you know, one of their Eurocentric thinking is a simple frame: survival of the fittest. What does that mean? I'm stronger than you. Therefore, I will trash, walk over, around, beat you down to get what I want. Right?
Yeah.
That's how they think. We don't think that way. We understand that life is about divine laws, that life is about connectedness.
Commerce.
Right? Right. Certainly life is about commerce, but there's a way that you do that with integrity.
Yes.
Right. So these are lessons that have to be taught. Now, this is easy to say, extraordinarily difficult to do or to undo. Extraordinarily difficult. It will take People ask him all the time, Dr. Fraser, how long do you think it will take for us to close the
Gap.
income and wealth gap between us and them? Oh, about 100 years, 3 to 5 generations,
Yeah, that's a
right?
long time.
That's a long time, but we have to have patience. And what we do know that everything that God has created is either growing or dying. It's changing, right? There's no in between. You grow or you die, right? So our thinking, hopefully, is growing with the proper instruction from the proper models, the proper coaches, the proper mentors, the proper people in your life. That's why I said yesterday, um, introduce me to your 5 closest friends, and that will tell me who you are.
Yes, that's
As they know and as they go, so go you. Don't spend major time with minor people. People going nowhere want you to go nowhere with them. People doing nothing want you to
and
do
if
nothing
you
with
have
them.
those minor people, get some new.
Bless them and release them.
I tell you, I could talk to you for eternity. Continue. I just, you know, you've given me some real realities. I, in my heart, want to see us rise financially because of that $1.7 trillion that needs to come back into our community. The fact that people who are, because I get it all the time from my associates that look different than I do, that say that, well, the people have arrived. You've got, people who have a lot of money. I said, yeah, but if you look even at who their partners are, it will not be coming back into our community. That's just the truth. So
Including wedlock, by the way.
that's right. That's right. So,
There's more interracial marriages today than ever before.
and the commercials are out there. We don't even get a chance to.
In fact, in commercials, I mean, I was commenting on that with my wife of 50 years.
Mhm.
You hardly even see white people in commercials. I mean, you got blacks, Hispanics,
Yep.
Asians,
Yep.
gays.
Everybody,
It's all mixed up now.
as my mom
There's
used
a
to call it,
psychology to that,
the
too.
world of no nations.
Yeah, right. It's amazing. So it shows some progress, but we still have to monitor that as well. We have to be mindful. But nothing will replace good and righteous teaching, right? We cannot expect them to do that for us. They're not. It is not in their best interest.
No, like you said, it's going to be up to us. If it's
up
to
to us.
be, it's
So-
up to we.
That's right.
That's
right.
it.
No question about it. So I accept the challenge. I have for the last 50 years. I'm doing what I can. I hope I'm modeling behavior that woke and conscious brothers and sisters will model. And then over time, you and I, as I said earlier, we won't see it. That's okay,
Hmm.
right? We made our mark. We put our thumbprint on it.
Okay.
We preached repeatedly what is right, right? And the rest will take care of itself.
Okay. Well, that's some hope. I just have to be reincarnated so I can come back. and
That's
see
right.
it.
Wouldn't you love to come back? I've said that to my wife. That's why I come back and see, let's say 50 years or 75 years, what progress we have made.
Where did we go?
What happened?
Did it happen?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
believe, I know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I was at the African Leadership Awards, and I was blessed to receive an award there. And I closed out by saying is that, the old adage is that together the ants ate the elephant. I said, but the real deal is that together the ants conquered the elephant.
There you go. There's a beautiful African proverb. You've heard it before. I use it all the time. When spiders unite, they can tie up a lion.
There you go. That's a
Right.
powerful one. So I have had the joy and the honor and the privilege to be able to speak and show you all what Dr. George Fraser has to offer. Now, he also has, just while this conference is going on, the opportunity for you to even get more information. It will be in, I forgot what month it's in.
August 2nd through the 5th in Houston, Texas. If you want more information, just go to powernetworkingconference.com. That's powernetworkingconference.com. to offer, include an adult pursuit, and be there. This is where the movers and shakers and decision makers, those brothers and sisters who are woke and conscious, this is where we meet, have this kind of discussion. It is a training conference. It's not a bunch of folks speechifying. We are training our people, and that's what we do.
So definitely, if we want to make a difference, we've got to come out. We have to support. We have to learn. Teaching is important. And then once you've learned, you have to internalize it. Don't just externalize it and say, I went. Internalize it and then act. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate
Great
you.
questions and an incredible audience. Love you. Keep doing God's work.
Will do. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we are Access Wealth Nation with Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse, giving you your financial checkup from the neck up. You have got an opportunity to hear from one of our great griots, our kings, our information and growth that we can get. We have to still maintain our elder where we're going to learn. And so since I've taken on that level of elder myself, I'm handing you this information also. So again, this is Access Wealth Nation with Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse at the Resurgence 2022. Be who we are, become great, and rise. Be back again in a few minutes with some more interviews.
Peace out.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be lethal to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is now.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.